let's try to determine like our technology right now compared to what aliens must have. Okay, it has to be an incredible difference. To try to put this in perspective, like say I traveled, say I had a time machine and I traveled back in time to ancient Greece to like let's see, Socrates died in what 399 BC. So let's say I traveled back 410 to 400, 410 years BC, right? And I got out of the time machine, figured out where Socrates is living, slid a solar calculator under his door, and then just got back in my time machine and came back to this time. Now, Socrates would have that solar calculator. He'd probably be able to figure out, this is a calculator. He'd figure it out sooner or later. I could add and subtract with this thing somehow by magic, right? But for the rest of his life, he would never figure out how the thing worked. And then for centuries afterward, whoever had that calculator, they never figure out how it worked either. In fact, it probably would get broken over time because he probably wouldn't have, at some point after realizing it could do subtraction, addition, multiplication, division. Someone of the mind of Socrates, someone with that stature, he'd figure out that part, but that's as far as he would get. He wouldn't understand at all how it operated. He could take the thing apart, and eventually he'd break it, or so. And if he didn't break it, the successors who come in possession of the thing after his death, they would have broke it. Eventually, trying to figure out how this thing works, and they would have just figured it's magic. And that's what I think is, when I believe that any kind of recovered craft, any kind of recovered alien spacecraft that our government, the United States government, or any other government in the world for that matter, has come into possession of, they're not going to figure out how it works. Not anytime soon, anyhow. It could be, it will be centuries if they ever do. Because let's face it, if Socrates, that's we're talking just over 2,000 years ago. I mean, it's 2021, so he died in 399 BC. So we're only talking a little over, not even 2,100 years ago. So, and if some alien being, which I would suppose they must be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not a million years more advanced, some of them that are coming here. Well, who knows? I guess it varies depending on the species or the race. So they're not going to know. We're not going to know. We're not going to be able to figure out what they're. That would be the same thing as giving Socrates the calculator. Like, so if anything we recovered in Roswell, for instance, we have that things. I'm sure our scientists have secretly been studying this for the decades, for the 70 years since we've had it, 70 plus years, 74 years that we've had it in our possession, and they probably still haven't figured it out. In fact, if you believe Bob Lazar, he said that they hadn't figured it out in the late 1980s. By that point, when he was there, if you believe his story, I actually am one of the people who do believe him. I don't think he has any reason to lie about what he's told us. So yes, and I don't think they still figured it out. Again, it would be like trying to figure out a technology that is just so far advanced for us at this time in our development that we just never figure it out. We're just never going to figure it out. It's going to take us a long time before we're anywhere close to it. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, though. I mean, if I am wrong, then why aren't we using? Why don't we have them? Why aren't we operating them right now? Like, I don't see them. There's been no announcement. Oh yeah, that definitely. If we would have figured this out over the years, right? At some point, there would have been an announcement. Yeah, guess what? We had to keep it a secret. Blah blah blah. And now, hey, here's the good part. We kept it a secret, but now we figured it out, and now we're masters of the world. That hasn't happened. That's because we haven't figured it out, and we're just not intelligent enough yet. We just don't understand. We're just not there. We're not anywhere close to it. And aliens, they could do it. The extraterrestrials, 10,000, 100,000 years. Say they're 100,000 years more advanced than we are. Just think about how ridiculous that is compared to where we are now. I mean, again, we were 2,000 years of recorded history, basically. Or excuse me, not even 5,000 years of history. We've only been recording history for 5,000 years. Or I've talked about this in a different video recently, a different podcast. So if that's the case, then we're not even close. We're not even close. I mean, we might be able to operate these things. Like apparently Lazar said they would test fly some of these things, and he did take friends out there in the late 80s, 1989, to a certain spot in the Nevada desert, and they saw weird lights in the sky doing maneuvers that our conventional aircraft cannot do. That did happen. There is video for that. But I don't think we figured out how they we don't know how to make one yet. We don't know exactly what's going on. So that's just so when you think about it, so they can do anything. That's a reason we should be afraid, because they're so more advanced. It would seem like magic. It does seem like this. The craft that I saw back in 1994, it does seem like it was like magic, because it made no sound and it was right in front of, right above me. So it was like magic, and I don't see how our scientists would figure out how that thing operates, or at this juncture of our of our existence. So yeah, there is reason to be afraid because of aliens, because we don't know what they're capable of. I mean, they could have a little fly could be flying around your house. I mean, just think of this. I know it sounds insane, right? But it's possible if you're that more advanced. I mean, you could have a little fly flying around your house right now, right? And that fly could actually be some sort of alien technology spying on you, or just observing you for whatever reason. Just think about it. It's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, look where we are right now. Cell phones. Look at it. Cell phone. Okay? 100 years ago, that would seem like magic. I mean, just think 100 years from now, what is going to be? Are we going to have implants in our head? Is that how we're going to communicate? At some point, are we going to be connected and we use telepathy somehow to communicate with each other? I mean, where do you think this is where do you think this is heading? It's heading in some direction where we can't even imagine right now. It would seem wherever we're going to be 100 years from now, or even 50 years from now. 50 years from now, you can't even imagine where you're going to be, right? There's some scientists that can't even imagine it. There's going to be some advancements over the next 50 years that right now, if you were to be told what those advancements were, it would blow you away. And that's only in 50 years. 100 years, it's going to be crazy. But, communication, these things, how's that going to change over time? It's going to change. It always has. We've been changing for the last 100 years or more or less. Big time changes. So where are we heading, and where are they at? The question is not so much where we're heading. Where we're heading is to horizons we have no idea how far advanced it's going to be. It's going to be amazing. However, where are they at right now? Where are they at? That's why aliens could be scary, because we have the technology advancements they have over us, that they have hanging over our heads. And if any of them have bad intentions, we're in trouble. If any of them have bad intentions, we could be in trouble.